Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, August 30th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Back to school, but not back to normal. For more than 103,000 students in San Diego Unified, the ongoing surge of COVID-19 is bringing with it some new rules that some other schools have yet to adopt. KPBS education reporter MG Perez begins our team coverage.
It's time to shout. Now let's yell our colors out.
The Mira Mesa High School cheerleaders have something to say about the new school year, now happening on campus, in person, with mask wearing required indoors and outdoors.
It definitely can be hard at sometimes. Sometimes the weather doesn't permit it to be easy, but whatever keeps us in school and keeps us away from distance learning at home.
This morning, students returned to learn here at Mira Mesa High School, along with students at more than 230 other campuses across the San Diego Unified School District. The COVID Delta variant is still infecting more people every day. The district has made a concerted effort to install filtration systems to clean air of COVID droplets in classrooms. Every school is offering free voluntary COVID testing once a week for anyone who wants it. And masks are a must to keep the coronavirus from spreading.
I know we talk about opening day for the Padres, but this is bigger than that. This is what our children need.
The interim superintendent says there is no more debate on the subject of wearing masks.
It's important for us to have outdoor masks. And we do have mask breaks. We recognize that students are going to be able to distance themselves and take their mask down for a mask break. We recognize that, but we believe that it is settled. We are going to require masks indoors and outdoors.
If it's all about the masks, then what about the mask exemptions? Students don't have to wear masks while they're eating or while they're participating in many outdoor athletic activities. A doctor's note does not guarantee an exemption.
I would say probably 80% of the notes we get from doctors that a child cannot wear a mask turn out to be wrong, that these children can wear a mask.
Students trying to use a doctor's note to get out of wearing a mask will first be interviewed by the school nurse and other staff members before a decision is made. Opening day also included a visit by the California State Superintendent to Marshall Elementary, where he had something to admit.
I was afraid to get a vaccine. I'll tell you that right now. But I got a vaccine, and both of my teenage daughters, who both attend public school in this state, they got their vaccines as soon as they were eligible to do so. In my estimation, those vaccines are allowing us to keep our schools open, our restaurants open, and to be with our loved ones.
For now, the Mira Mesa High School band plays on with high hopes for a happy and healthy school year. MG Perez, KPBS News.
More than 100 San Diego Unified facilities serve children who aren't yet old enough to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. KPBS reporter Melissa May visited a local elementary school to see how they're keeping their students and staff safe.
Adams Elementary is one of the many schools in the San Diego Unified School District who welcomed back students under the age of 12 to their campus. But teachers, parents, and students all share the same feeling.
The first day of school, and we're super excited to have the kids.
Super excited. I'm really excited.
We're really excited. It's the first full school day since the pandemic hit, so it's very exciting for all of us.
Emily Rose Weber is the president of the parent-teacher community organization at Adams Elementary and is cautiously optimistic about the school reopening.
A lot of these kids, that most of their memories are kind of in this new COVID landscape, so they know all about masking and hand washing and things like that. So we're really hoping for the best.
Rose Weber's 3 children are students at the school and knows that there is a risk to having over 300 unvaccinated students on site.
It's always a worry, and I think that we're going to feel way better once they are vaccinated. But for now, I think with the testing and the distancing and the masking and the measures that are being taken, we're really hoping for the best.
It does worry me for them. I mean, as an adult, I'm vaccinated, so I feel obviously safe within myself, but for them, it definitely is a point of concern.
Sandra Mesa is a 3rd grade teacher, and even though she is concerned about her students' health, she knows the benefits of in-person learning.
Having to have them here and being able to listen to me in person and me being able to help them, I mean, it's just going to be so much better for them.
One by one, students entered the school and walked to their classroom. 3rd grader Aaliyah Ackroyd says she likes being back with her peers in person.
Because I can see them, and if I need help, then my teacher can help me.
Juliana Lopez is a 1st grade student and knows how to keep everyone at school safe.
Please wear their mask.
The district is providing regular on-campus COVID testing and will handle any masking issues on a case-by-case basis. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Some breaking news now. Moments ago, the county announced a COVID-19 milestone. 75% of those 12 and up in San Diego County are now fully vaccinated. Also today, a life-saving therapy for those infected with COVID-19 is being expanded. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman shows us a new monoclonal antibody treatment center opening in Claremont.
This will ease the burden on local hospitals and help prevent the spread of COVID-19 in our city, especially in light of the highly contagious Delta variant.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria says this monoclonal antibody center is the first of its kind in the city, bringing COVID-19 testing along with treatment for those infected. County Public Health Officer Dr. Wilma Wooten says it should not be a replacement for vaccines, though.
Monoclonal antibodies are proteins that have been given the emergency use authorization by the FDA to fight the virus once you are infected. So in short, vaccinations are prevention. The monoclonal antibodies are treatment once you get infected.
Monoclonal antibody treatments have been used for months in San Diego. Previously, it was being underused, but with a steady increase in infections, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says demand has gone up.
Since February 9th, this life-saving treatment has been provided to more than 1,600 individuals in San Diego County, but this location at this time is much needed.
This new site is located at the Kathy Hopper Claremont Friendship Center. The treatment is available for free, regardless of insurance or immigration status.
Treatment is once and you're done.
The county's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jennifer Tudor, says people can be given the treatment up to 10 days after testing positive and showing symptoms.
And with this treatment, there's a 70 to 85% decrease in the risk of hospitalization and mortality. So it's so important we give the treatment early.
If you have symptoms and test positive, call 619-685-2500. Appointments are necessary, but can be usually booked the same day or next day.
Right now, we have hundreds of calls a day. So we're very encouraged that people are aware of monoclonal antibodies. We're very sad that people have so much COVID that they need it.
There are other monoclonal antibody treatment centers in Vista, Escondido, Hillcrest, and Chula Vista. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
City of San Diego employees will all have to get vaccinated or find another job. Coming up on Evening Edition, which departments have the most work to do? After 20 years, America's longest war is over as the last U.S. troops leave Afghanistan. The head of U.S. Central Command says a number of Americans, likely in the low hundreds, were left behind, but he believes they will still be able to get out.
Simply because we have left, that doesn't mean the opportunities for both Americans that are in Afghanistan that want to leave and Afghans who want to leave, they will not be denied that opportunity.
President Biden says U.S. military leaders agreed to end the airlift mission as planned. He will address the nation tomorrow. And we're awaiting an update on 2 families from the Cajon Valley Union School District still in Afghanistan. A district spokesperson says one family was in the process at the airport while another is still waiting for help. The U.S. Department of Defense says no evacuees were left at the airport when the last U.S. military plane left. San Diego is mourning the loss of the 10 service members from Camp Pendleton who died in a suicide attack outside the airport in Kabul. Here's KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh.
The Pentagon announced just after midnight, August 31st, Kabul time, that the last U.S. flight left Afghanistan. That officially means that the 13 U.S. troops who died last Thursday would be the last Americans killed in a war that lasted nearly 20 years. A makeshift memorial is growing at the gates of Camp Pendleton, where 9 of the Marines and 1 sailor who died were each stationed. Charlene Beard is a military spouse of a Navy corpsman.
They're babies. To have their life be taken from them is it's just unbearable. Like, I might have not have known them, but it's a piece of me.
Colin Float is a retired Marine Master Sergeant who felt a kinship with the young Marines.
And this breaks my heart to hear something like this. This is somebody's friend. This is somebody's son, daughters.
The San Diego VA has seen a spike in requests for mental health assistance since the evacuation began 2 weeks ago. Dr. Abigail Ankow says the larger veteran community is also in mourning.
We're seeing veterans with a range of emotions, and I'd say in terms of recommendations, it's probably best not to assume that somebody should respond in a specific way, and at the same time to create a space to allow them to share and to invite them to share.
Over the weekend, the bodies returned to Dover Air Force Base. Among the dead, Lance Corporal Rayleigh McCullum was about to have a baby. 3 of the 4 Marines were from Riverside County in the Inland Valley. Corporal Hunter Lopez is the son of a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy. Marine Lance Corporal Dylan Marola was from Rancho Cucamonga. His high school football team honored him by wearing red, white, and blue at their game Friday night. The rest of the unit is not scheduled to return to San Diego until sometime in the fall. In the meantime, Pendleton has dispatched chaplains to conduct crisis counseling. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
Federal prosecutors will not seek the death penalty against the Chabad of Poway shooter. That is according to documents filed today in San Diego federal court. John T Ernest pleaded guilty to murder and other charges. He is expected to be sentenced next month to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Governor Newsom has deployed state search and rescue teams to assist in life-saving efforts in Louisiana in the wake of Hurricane Ida. The Category 4 storm left behind a trail of destruction. Here's reporter Isabel Rosales.
Search and rescue efforts underway across the Gulf Coast after Ida slammed into Louisiana as a Category 4 hurricane, killing at least 1 person.
No one has any cell phone service or anything, so it's a waiting game.
Heavy rain pounding the state for hours, causing severe flooding, punishing storm surge, widespread power outages that may last weeks in the hardest hit areas, and the rapidly rising waters trapping some people in their homes.
And we had to deploy boats at 4 o'clock this morning and do water rescues. We took about 15 people off the roofs of their homes.
A lot of people had hunkered down in the houses since last night, so they're just getting pulled out of the houses today.
Debris and standing water making it difficult for first responders to access some of the hardest hit areas, forcing some residents to take matters into their own hands.
A couple of people behind me have a lot of friends and family out there, so I got a fairly decent sized boat, so if I can get a couple people to ride with me, we'll check on everyone once we get out there.
Ida has weakened as it moves inland, but with heavy rainfall, drainage systems without power, and overwhelmed levees risk more life-threatening flooding. President Biden is pledging federal help.
More than 5,000 members of your National Guard have been activated from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Texas to support search and rescue.
In New Orleans, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
As others are dealing with the ravaging force of Hurricane Ida, a fast-growing wildfire north of us is forcing some San Diego County residents to evacuate their homes. In their latest update, CAL FIRE says the Chaparral fire is 13% contained and holding at just over 1,400 acres. The fire ignited near the Cleveland National Forest and spans over areas of Riverside and San Diego counties. Local crews are battling the blaze from ground and air with assistance from U.S. Forest Service fire crews. Evacuation orders have been reduced to warnings, and evacuation warnings have now been lifted. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And more evacuations have been ordered for the Caldor fire still burning after 2 weeks near Lake Tahoe. Several communities south of the lake had been ordered to evacuate abruptly, while other residents on the south and southwest shore were warned they could be evacuating next. The fire's containment went from 19% down to 13% on Sunday night. It has burned more than 177,000 acres, destroying hundreds of buildings and injuring 5 people.
We're going to be watching as tropical moisture from tropical rainstorm Nora continues to surge northward, bringing some much needed rain for some, but also the possibility of flash flooding for others. Flash flood watches have been posted here. We're also going to be talking about cooler temperatures here for some of you who have the rain and the cloud cover that's on the way too. So through Tuesday evening, flash flood watches have been posted, especially in some of the higher terrain and in the deserts too. Places like Borrego Springs, Mount Laguna should be on alert for that potential of flash flooding. As we move into tonight, temperatures are generally falling off into the low to mid 60s here from Escondido out towards Oceanside, San Diego in the upper 60s, Borrego Springs, storms possible for you with temperatures in the upper 70s. And as we move through the overnight period, you'll watch as some of this green begins to pop up here. But again, most of it's going to be confined to the higher terrain. Coastal areas likely not going to see much in the way of rain shower activity. Then looking ahead to the day tomorrow, 100 degrees over in Borrego Springs, Mount Laguna, low 70s for you. Ramona, 85 degrees. More storms possible here in Borrego Springs for your day on Tuesday. And we'll continue to see that here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Widespread showers and storms here, especially across some of the higher terrain and the deserts here across southern portions of California. Near the coast, not much in the way of change. Temperature is pretty seasonable in the mid to upper 70s here, but you likely will see a little bit of cloud cover kick back your way. Further inland, temperatures generally in the low 80s. Again, not a whole lot in the way of change here, maybe a little bit of an increase in cloud cover, but it does look like you're going to stay dry. Not so much in the mountains. We'll have the possibility for a couple showers and storms, mainly during the overnight period, but temperatures here are going to be much cooler, back down into the 60s here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before rebounding as we move into the weekend. And in the deserts, a couple storms possible here on your Tuesday. Otherwise, temperatures staying generally in the low triple digits. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
All City of San Diego employees and visitors to city buildings now have to wear masks indoors regardless of their vaccination status. The requirement comes as county health officials have been recommending regular mask wearing to slow the spread of COVID-19. Last week, more than 11,000 city employees were told that they must be fully vaccinated by November. As KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen shows us, some city departments have a long way to go.
Just 49% of San Diego's sworn police officers are fully vaccinated, the lowest rate of any city employee union. Meanwhile, 65% of all the city's more than 11,000 employees have been fully vaccinated. That's supposed to be 100% by November 2nd, when those who still refuse to get vaccinated could lose their jobs. UCSD public health professor Rebecca Fielding Miller says interacting with the public is part of a city employee's job.
And the public also has a right to feel safe in those interactions. And in a pandemic, that means that the person you're interacting with has a lower probability of giving you an airborne infectious disease.
In particular, Fielding Miller says the low vaccination rate among police officers is concerning because people who are face-to-face with law enforcement usually can't just walk away if they feel unsafe.
It's actually extra important that police be vaccinated because it's their job to keep people safe, and because that interaction is often not voluntary for the other person.
Employee unions are still negotiating with city management over the details of the vaccination requirement, like how to vet religious and medical exemptions. Mayor Todd Gloria says COVID outbreaks are interfering with essential city operations, and the vaccine requirement will keep city staffers and the public safe. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says misinformation about COVID-19 is a public health crisis. And tomorrow he plans to introduce a resolution to make that official. Fletcher says the First Amendment gives people the right to say things, even if they're untrue. But he says false information about the virus and the vaccines is killing people.
People are dying because they are believing things that are untrue.
And so as a county, we feel an obligation to lean into this fight. We've got to try and equip every resident with the facts and the truth.
Fletcher's proposal includes more resources for combating misinformation and countering it with accurate information. For the latest on the pandemic and resources, check out the Tracking COVID-19 section at kpbs.org. And that includes details on vaccines, the latest case numbers, and our local reporting. You can get there by clicking the link on our homepage. Oceanside's beachfront has been undergoing renovations, and now attention is shifting to the city's 102-year-old amphitheater and a nearby community center named for the late Junior Seau. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne tells us the Seau family has started a petition to keep the facilities intact for the community.
Mary Seau thinks of her brother Junior whenever she walks the Oceanside Strand.
I can feel the spirit down here, freedom, joy, happiness. Just excited to be around the people.
In 2012, the Junior Seau Amphitheater and Community Center were named for the Oceanside native and pro football player. Since 1919, when the amphitheater was built, cultural celebrations and events have taken the amphitheater stage. But Oceanside Mayor Esther Sanchez says she's noticed a decrease in events and sports. She says COVID is part of the problem, but so is scheduling.
I've heard from a lot of voices from the community that it's really, really hard to get an event going here. You know, whether you're a nonprofit or a church or anyone, a private citizen wanting to have an event, it's always been very difficult, and I don't understand why.
So when the city presented a beachfront improvement study looking into the amphitheater and community center, Sanchez got concerned.
When the city decided, okay, let's go ahead and start looking at, say, include the beach community center, a lot of bells and whistles started going off in my head like, okay, great. Is this for the continued use of the youth and families? And I'm very concerned about where this is, the direction this is heading.
Food vendors and bike rental companies are already operating outside the community center, and Sanchez worries more commercial activity will work its way into the public parkland. Rumors of demolishing the facilities and putting a parking structure in its place have started to swirl among the community. Dara Woods is a senior civil engineer with the City of Oceanside managing the project. She says it's just starting and no plans or proposals have been presented.
We know how important this area is to the city and the local community. That's why we really want to know what the public wants to see. There are city needs, but the public needs are just as important, and that's what we want to hear.
But Mary Seau is not taking her chances and has started a petition to make sure the facilities are saved.
What I would like to see is have them fix the problem, fix the broken walls, fix the stairs, the community center building. Have them fix it, but don't demolish it. This belongs to the city of Oceanside.
Other Oceanside residents have mixed opinions. Doug Boyd thinks it needs to be torn down.
I'd love to see it renovated and maybe have concerts here or something would be great. The other option, I think you see kids skateboarding here all the time, maybe make a skate park for the kids to come down to. Same thing with the gym down there. I don't know if they ever use it anymore down there. So we're not, it's like prime property down here. Why don't they, I think it needs to be remodeled and something done with it.
Renovations would be very good. The destruction, though, I don't think is necessary.
That was Joey Daly, who runs a snack shack and bike rentals near the community center. And Oceanside resident Coco Brown had this observation.
Plus it's historical. This is what we know. So tearing this down, it'll just be problematic. Nobody wants to see that. I mean, it's a Junior Seau.
A public input meeting is scheduled for Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Oceanside Library Community Rooms. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Judy Woodruff tonight on the NewsHour. Out of Afghanistan, the final U.S. military flight ends America's longest war. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
As our lives become more digitized, there is a growing need for workers who know how to code. But often coding training is out of reach for people from disadvantaged backgrounds. As KPBS's Alexander Nguyen shows us, one program in Escondido is looking to change that.
A lot of people are paying money to learn how to code. And for me, it's the opposite. I'm getting paid to learn how to code.
You heard that right.
Josiah Swap is being paid to learn how to code. He's part of the year-long apprenticeship program at Creating Code Careers. Mike Roberts is the founder.
One of the reasons why I started this was because as a software engineer, I've been writing code for about 32 years. I wasn't seeing very many people that look like me in this space.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there is a diversity gap in tech.
Women make up about 50% of the population, but only about 25% of tech jobs. Blacks about 13% of the population, but a little more than 8% of tech jobs. In Latinx, about 18% of the population, but only 7.5% in tech.
If we're not seeing these people represented inside of software organizations, that must mean that there's some super talented people that just need an opportunity. They need a chance to be able to gain those skills.
People like Hannah Clack, who says she would not be able to continue learning to code without the apprenticeship program. She was laid off when COVID hit and found it difficult to find another job.
And it was getting to the point where I was going to just have to take a different type of job rather than looking for a development job if I didn't find something. So the apprenticeship thing lets me keep working in development while I'm getting to a level that's more, better for businesses.
The program was started last year just as COVID hit, and so far a handful of graduates have already found full-time jobs. In addition to the Escondido campus here, Roberts also has another campus in Encanto and is looking to expand to other parts of the country. In Escondido, Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.